Aloha and welcome back to the third installment of the North Shore Yoga video series. This sequence can be whatever you want it to be. It can be very challenging. There's places where you can fill in the blanks and throw in a couple push-ups or just do slightly more challenging asanas. Or you can make it very gentle depending on what your body's feeling like today. Starts with a little breath work, do a little alternate nostril breathing so that we can go into some balancing options. And then in between our balancing options, I take some liberties with the B sun salutation and branch off to options using the B sun salutation as a framework for those. And like I said, there's many places where you can fill in the blanks. You could do a more advanced or more challenging balancing position than I'm presenting when we're in those segments of the sequence. And in the middle of each round of the, again, very liberated version of Surya Namaskar B, you can throw in something that's a little more challenging as well. I'll prompt you when you have when those options come up. And it's just a nice outline of a session that lets you check in to see how your yoga is developing. Hopefully things are becoming easier over time. That's really the way I look at progression of yoga. You're getting better when things are getting easier. And so don't force anything. Definitely always listen to your back. Don't do anything your back doesn't want you to do. Always listen to your knees, and don't do anything that involves feedback from the knees. As far as the knees go, we help them by leaving them alone and then simultaneously stretching and strengthening the surrounding muscles. But the knees themselves don't want any feedback from them. So with that in mind, find a comfortable way to sit up at the front of your mat. You might want to sit on a block, or just a little lift to your sitting bones to make it more comfortable. You may want to prop things underneath the outside lines of your legs. You do not have to sit cross-legged, especially if your knees give you feedback when you do. You can sit with your legs straight out. We're going to be there shortly. Just find whatever way is most comfortable for you. Find whatever position lets you position your respiratory apparatus so they can do its job of just creating a nice steady flow to the breath. With, as you now know, if you've checked in with sequence 1 or 2, you want to inhale through your nostrils, let the inhalation land low and rise upward. Ideally, you want to exhale out through your nostrils. If there's any congestion in the way, you can exhale out of your mouth, but let the exhalation work its way down. So with the inhalation, there's a filling of the lower lungs, an expansion of the diaphragm. It rises up with expansion of the rib cage, and then up to lifting of the chest. And then with the exhalation, you first release the upper lungs, and then mid lungs, and then lower lungs. And that creates a nice rhythm, something I refer to as the flow of development, and just a nice tool to use through your sequencing and to the development of each position. So find a nice comfortable flow. Let the pattern of your breath evolve throughout the session as you're letting your positions evolve. And to help us out on many different levels, let's start with some alternate nostril breathing. It's also referred to as sun and moon breath, also referred to as Sahita pranayama. There are many different forms of pranayama. This is my favorite one. Prana just means life force. Yama means control or restraint, so it's controlling the life force, in this case the breath. The next time you inhale, at the top of your inhalation, bring the middle and index finger of your right hand and just kind of anchor them just above and between your eyebrows. And then the nice smooth exhalation, flow out of both nostrils. At the end of your exhalation, close off your left nostril with your ring finger and your right nostril with your thumb. Then, when your body asks for an inhalation, let the inhalation flow in through the left side only, at a smooth and consistent pace. At the top of your inhalation, when the in-breath starts to lose its consistency of flow, close off the left nostril. And then when your body asks you to exhale, exhale out of the right nostril. When the exhalation starts to lose its consistency of flow, close it off. And then when you're asked to inhale, inhale back through the right side. At the top of your inhalation, close off the right side. And when you're asked to exhale, exhale out of the left side. It's one round of the sun and moon breath at the pace at which I talked you through it. Close off the left nostril at the end of the out breath. And then the next round flows back in through the left side, and just continue. Allowing the breath to flow from side to side. Aiming to match up your in-breath with your out-breath. And aiming to match up the comfortable pause at the top of your in-breath with the duration of the comfortable pause at the end of your out-breath. First and foremost, what alternate nostril breathing does for us is it brings the focus right where we want it, to the breath. That one pointed focus helps to calm the mind and produce a clarity of thought. And then along the way, because the breath is flowing from side to side, it promotes internal balance to all the internal opposites we have. It brings balance to the contributions of the two sides of the respiratory system. It brings balance to the contributions of the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. And it brings balance to the contributions of the two hemispheres of the brain. But it also helps us to find a nice rhythm to work with, a nice comfortable flow to our breath. It refines the primary tool that's going to help us through the sequencing. It refines the tool that's going to help to turn each position into an accessible asana. Allow the pattern of your breath to continue to flow at the rhythm that's been established until that pattern leads you back to your next exhalation out of your left nostril. And then after that exhalation, release the right hand down. Let the breath continue to flow at this rhythm you've established. And since you've been sitting for a while and your knees might be wanting a break, take the opportunity to straighten your legs, come into your seated Dandasana, engage your quadriceps. You know that gives you that proprio-neuromuscular facilitation that gives you that softer environment through the backs of the legs, which will be better for your knees and better for the legs and better for the back. Lift the chest forward a little bit so that you hide the back, so the back is flat, the spinal column is working as a unit as much as possible. Let your shoulders relax down from your ears, let your face relax, and let that release of the chin drop suddenly past the parallel line of the floor. Shoot your heels forward, point your toes back to your chest, a nice initial stretch to the legs, and spend a few breaths with Dandasana. Before now transitioning to Baddha Konasana, the bound angle pose. You get there by just leaning back a little bit. Let the bottoms of your feet come together. My take on Baddha Konasana is your body knows where it is. Let the feet land where they are and keep them there. And then you bring your hands to your toes or your shins, not so you can pull your feet closer, but so you can lift your chest as a way to help to protect your back. And then drop your gaze a couple feet out in front of your toes. Let the in-breath rise up as it always should. At the top of the inhalation, when it catches your upper respiratory system, tilt forward in the direction of your gaze. And then with your exhalation, just let gravity take you down. Don't worry about the floor being far away. Notice how far away it is for me here. Just enjoy the opening you're getting along the way. There's no race to get anywhere. There's no reason to overly pull with the arms. Just use the arms to help to assist the inhalation with creating some space, and then give that space to gravity and drop deeper in. You can bring your elbows in front of your shins, and that contact can help to lift the chest a little farther forward with each inhalation, and with the exhalation you just collapse down. Send one more inhalation through Baddha Konasana. Maybe drop a little bit deeper into it with the exhalation that follows. And then scoop back up. You're up at the front of your space. You're going to bring the insides of your legs together. If you need to move forward or back so that your feet are on your mat, but right up at the front of your mat, do so. And then bring your hands beside you. Lift your butt up away from the floor. And I'm going to suggest doing a few large rotations with your shins, just to kind of loosen up the ankles and the surrounding muscles there. Go in one direction a few times, and then reverse and go in the other. And then turn your fingers back. And just hang out here in this version of the squatted position for a little bit. And we're going to go to Uttanasana. You can leave your fingers right where they are. That might be best. You could possibly flip them around and line them up with your toes. But then with your next couple inhalations, slowly lift your sitting bones up. Start from the floor up. Keep your fingertips down on the floor. Keep your knees a little bit bent, a little bit neutral even. And find balance through your feet. With each inhalation, let your sitting bones rise up a little bit more. With each exhalation, let your upper body collapse down towards the floor. And use this not only as a nice, gentle opening stretch to the sequence, but also as a way to find balance. Balance from front to back, balance from right to left. So notice my knees are a little bit bent. They're not locked. Once I'm locked, I lose that opportunity for balance, and basically the position starts here. The area we're stretching is from here to up here. That's where we want the release so that we can let the upper body drop farther down. So by finding balance through the feet with a slight neutralization of the knees, you're able to drop deeper into Uttanasana, and you're finding and maintaining a balance that will be very helpful for where we're going. At the end of your next exhalation, let your knees bend a little bit more so that your quads activate, so you can roll up, stacking your spinal column one vertebra at a time, and coming up to Tadasana. Standing mountain, standing position. Now, feet can be all the way together, with toes touching the heels a little bit apart. Feet can be a little bit apart. Whatever makes you feel the most grounded, the most comfortable, the most like you're in asana. Start with your feet, spread out your toes. Subtly neutralize your knees. You don't want them locked. You don't want to be using the quad. You just want to be in a nice soft neutral space there. Throughout the sequence, I'll be turning sideways occasionally just so you can see a slightly different view, but you just continue with what you're doing. For Tadasana, a lot of times when you're standing, you think you got to stand at attention like this, when really you want to slightly tuck your tailbone, just a little bit, a little pelvic tilt. For this one, I like to imagine a fishing weight is attached to my tailbone. That's drawing it gently down towards the space between my heels. That way my upper body has a nice little cradle of support. Again, the shoulders down from the ears. Again, the face relaxed, the chin drops past the parallel line of the floor. It's a very, very simple position, Tadasana. But it's one we rarely use. You'd think this would be the one we would do all the time, but we usually kind of stand like this or slouch. Find your body's version of Tadasana and try to get a little bit taller with each upward rising inhalation. Aim to feel a little more grounded with each downward flowing exhalation. And this is where the sequence becomes yours. We start with a balancing option. Now, I see Tadasana as a balancing pose. If you want to experiment with that, you can bring your feet all the way together and close your eyes. And if you do that, you'll see the weight rapidly shifting from one leg to the other. And some days it'll be a challenge to balance in Tadasana with the eyes closed. Some days it'll be a challenge to balance in Tadasana with the eyes open. But let your eyes open. And establish the tool that I value more than any for balancing poses, the drishti gaze. It's that blank, unfixed stare that, you know, when you're outside of a yoga class, people try to snap you out of. It's really that enjoyable little moment of haze. Just let your gaze drop out in front of you. The idea is if you focus on something, then that object's not going to move at all. When you're moving a little bit within a balancing option, you're going to feel like you're moving a lot. But if you have a nice soft gaze, it helps your balance, helps your composure. So Tadasana, this could be your balancing pose. Or we can start with tree pose. Tree pose or Vriksasana. We'll start by standing on the left leg. So bring a little more attention to your left leg. So let's start to lift your right leg away from the floor. And if it's available to you, draw the right knee up. And then draw the right heel high up the inside of the left leg. Balancing poses are for research. Some days are better than others. If you want to leave your right hand right here on the lower part of your shin, you can. Engage your left quadriceps so you kind of maintain a center line. And if you wanted to, you could press your hands together, hook your thumbs around each other, and shoot your arms up towards the sky. Just distribute some of that energy upward away from the left ankle. Makes you a little longer, a little lighter. Just keep the breath flowing at a steady rate. Keep the soft drishti gaze dropped out in front of you. And then when it's time, when your tree starts to get a little wobbly, come out, drop the right leg down, maybe shake the left leg out if you need to. Come back to Tadasana first, and then explore the other side. Shift the weight over to your right leg. Draw the left knee up. You can stay right here if you wanted to, or you can draw the heel of the left leg high up the inside of the right. Notice I'm putting emphasis on that placement of the heel, not the toes. The toes are too close to the knee, so be light with that contact if you can. Engage the right quadriceps to match whatever the left heel's bringing to them. And then hand again can stay on the left shin. Hands can come up in front of the heart center, or the arms could send up to the sky. When it's time, out of your tree, back to Tadasana. Find it, find your breath. So that your next inhalation, or one of your next inhalations, can take you to chair pose. Utkatasana, lightning bolt pose. Get there by shooting your arms forward, keeping your heels grounded, dropping your sitting bones down. The key here is to be able to see your toes. You don't want the knees going too far forward. Get to keep the heels grounded. That'll make it better for your ankles. And feel a line of energy going from your heels to your knees, knees to your sitting bones shooting through your fingertips, through the top of your head. And the quad's doing some work. The quad's burning a little bit. So with one of your next exhalations, you can sneak into the hamstrings while they're nice and soft and fall into Uttanasana, dropping the fingertips down. Melting deeper into Uttanasana with your next exhalation. And then with an inhalation, shooting the top of your head straight forward. Leave your fingertips down on the floor. The intention here is just to create a nice flat line from your sitting bones to the top of your head. So with your next exhalation, you can bend your knees and spread your hands out on your mat and step back and add your legs to that line and come into your plank position, or Chaturanga Dandasana. Remember to press your ankles together, press the insides of your knees together, press your heels back. And each time you're here, this is where If you want to do a bunch of work, you can throw in a couple push-ups. This is where I'm going to present four different options to you. And this first round, we'll do the first option. That's simply to fill up your plank with an inhalation, and with an exhalation, part the feet a little bit and go straight into your down dog. First down dog of the session, so don't judge it, just use it, look for it. Hands spread out, shoulders up away from your ears, nice soft and long to the backs of your legs. Before coming up onto your fingertips and stepping your right foot all the way up next to your right hand. Now, if it doesn't get there in one step, just grab the heel, get it up there. Most important thing here is you get a nice vertical line up your right shin. That's going to be a source of protection for your knee. Then drop your left knee down, release your left toes back. Cushion that left knee if you need to, depending on what surface you're on. You can do that by putting a towel or something underneath it. You can roll your mat underneath it. And just literally hang out here for a few. Letting your center hang down towards your mat. As it does, as you give this space to gravity, you get a nice little initial hip opening through your right hip. You get a nice quad initial lengthening through your left side. And just another opportunity to use the breath. Looking for space from the top of your left to the back of your right knee and just kind of softening everything in between. At the end of your next exhalation, bring your hands down to the mat and spread them out. Line them up. We're going back to our plank. We're going to get there by tucking the left toes under, pressing the left heel back, stepping the right foot back, ankles together, knees together, heels back, glutes engaged, breath flowing. So our first option, and that was for people who kind of wanted to avoid going through a back bend, was to go straight to down dog. Our second option, which I'm going to spend a little bit more time with because it's the riskiest option, is to exhale and drop the knees down first, retuck your toes, and then drop your chest and your chin down to an obvious caterpillar position. Now, the reason why this one is a risky one is because your arms are involved. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what I'm talking about here. Basically, you're in caterpillar, and cobra is where we're going next. I'm going to do cobra wrong for you just so you can see what I don't want you to do. Straighten your legs, relax them, and then press up. This is a risky cobra. The reason why is the length of your arms is never going to change. And so if you do this every time you do cobra, which, you know, if you do yoga for the rest of your life, it could be thousands and thousands of times, that could lead to a disintegration of the discs where the back's coming together. Because there's nothing there to protect it. There's no involvement there. So instead of doing a cobra that has straight arms, do one that is all about front lengthening. As we learned in the first session, back bends are about front lengthening. So instead of just straightening the arms and coming here like I just did, don't ever do this, drop down, back to caterpillar, and then reach back through your legs. And then work your attention up the body. Grab them out with your fingertips and inhale your way up through Cobra 1. Up into Cobra 2. Notice my elbows stay a little bit bent. My glutes are still activated, my legs are still lifting back, my rib cage, chest lift up, and maybe the face lifts up. It's a much safer way to approach Bhujangasana. Fill up your Cobra with an inhalation, and then tuck your toes under and go right back to your down dog with an exhalation. Use your down dog to counter where you just were in your Cobra. Allow your down dog itself to evolve. And let us set you up for where you're going. As you look forward, come up onto your fingertips. Now you step your left foot forward, all up next to your left hand. Drop your right knee down. Release your right toes back. And hang out here. Even though this isn't technically a balancing position, the Drishti gaze can still help with your balance. And that balance will give you trust. And trust will always give you more freedom. So let there be added space and lengthening between your right knee and the back of your left. Let your tailbone get that rare opportunity to hang freely. And let your breath flow rhythmically through it all, this little low lunge position. And this again is a place where you could be throwing something else in if you wanted to. If you wanted to, tuck your right toes under, press your right heel back, hang out in a high lunge. You could already move on to pigeon with this one if you want. This is my segue to pigeon. And the next round we'll go to pigeon. And then the hip opening we get the disc leads us to pigeon. And then after the pigeon will lead us to warrior three. That's the way this sequence is going to work. Send another in-breath in. Relax deeper into it with your exhalation. Once again, bring your hands down, spread them out. Tuck your right toes under, press your right heel back, step your left foot back, come back to your plank. Whereas I'm talking and babbling away, you can do a couple push-ups. You can just hang out in the plank, which is a great option. Now you know what option one is. Option one is to go straight to down dog. You know option two, the risky one, is to go through caterpillar and very cautiously through the cobras. Option number three, the arms are straight because the legs stay off the floor. And that's what makes it a little bit safer. I'm going to again turn sideways so you can see what's going on. From your plank, your inner elbows are turned forward, bend them just a little bit. So then you can reach the toes back, bring the tops of your feet to the floor, and then inhale your way to up dog. Space from the tops of your feet to your chin. Fill up your up dog with an inhalation, and then roll back over the toes. Fall back into your down dog. Give Adho Mukha Svanasana a few breaths to evolve once again. Because we're doing things in between that help us gain access to a more comfortable version of our down dog. So never feel stuck in any position. Always allow your positions to evolve towards being asanas. And keep your breath flowing along the way. Now look forward, come up onto your fingertips, walk or jump your feet lightly towards the space between your hands. Flatten your back when you get there, this time intending to get space through your waist. So with an exhalation you can fold back to Uttanasana. And then with your next inhalation, you're back to your chair. Arms shoot forward, sitting bones drop down a little bit. Settle deeper into your chair with an exhalation and then straighten back out of it, back to Tadasana. Inhalation straightens you out. Exhalation has the arms coming back down beside you. Back to Tadasana. Back to finding balance. Where once again, the choice is yours. You can stay in Tadasana. You could go back and continue to work on Vrikshasana. Or you can move on to King Dancer. King Dancer is now accessible because we got a little quad stretch in that lunge. You drop your drishti gauge out in front of you, you shift the weight over to your left leg, you bend the right knee, grab the top of the right foot. You can stay right here if you want. Great little quad stretch. Great little balancing position. Or if you wanted to, you could inhale to your King Dancer, pressing the right foot back, pressing the right knee back, counterbalancing by reaching the left arm forward, neutralizing your left knee for added balance and prevention of hyperextension through the left knee, and breathing. Now, or a couple breaths from now, easing your way back, dropping the right foot down, coming back to Tadasana. Give the left leg a little shake out if you want you to. Whenever it comes to balancing poses, do them when your body tells you to. When the timing feels right, shift the weight over to the right leg, bend the left knee, grab the top of the foot, neutralize the right knee a little bit. Stay here if you want, or press the left foot back, press the left knee back, counterbalance by reaching the right arm forward. There's more advanced versions of King Dancer. If you know those, this is your time to explore those. And then just like going in, is at your body's timing. Coming out is at your body's timing. So whenever it's time, come back slowly. Drop the left foot down. Find and savor Tadasana for a couple breaths. Well, now we'll go back in with an inhalation leading us through the chair to get there. Sit down, keep the heels grounded, keep the knees and ankles quiet, keep the quads working a little bit. Fill up your chair with an inhalation. Follow the release of your exhalation. Back down to your standing forward fold. Back down to Uttanasana. Give it another breath. Melt into it with an exhalation. Your head hanging down towards the earth. And an inhalation at the top of your head shoots straight across the room. Flat back. Line of connection from your butt to the top of your head. Exhalation, bend your knees, spread your hands out. Inhalation, step your feet back. Where you now have learned 3 options of what to do when you're here. Fourth one, it's just like the third one, only go farther down. The third one, we just go to a quarter shot. And that's the one I like the most. As long as your wrist can handle it, I feel like that's the safest one, besides just going straight to down dog. But if your wrists are alright, and you felt good about going a quarter of the way down, the option, and again I'll turn sideways, is to drop all the way down till you're hovering just a couple inches off the floor in low chop. And then from there, upper body shoots forward, toes reach back, space from toes to chin and everywhere in between until your wrists tell you it's time to return to your down dog. Remember, in down dog, you want your feet to land just about hip width distance apart, shoulders up away from your ears. Definitely should have better access to Adho Mukha Svanasana than you did the first time around, so enjoy and savor it for another breath or so. And now this is again where it's up to you. If you want us to go back and work off the lunge, you can. If you want to go do something else, some other crazy asana I don't even know about, you can do that. Or you can go to pigeon by bringing the right knee up next to the right thumb. For those with problem knees, this is always where you want to be careful. Slide your left leg back, drop your left knee down, release your left toes back. Fill the space with something if you need to, or drop down to your right. Remember, protect the right knee, keep it quiet. Reach the left leg back, try to get the left side of the pelvis to come forward, breathe your way from right to left, and don't skip the opportunity that you have here to breathe stuff away. You might be able to drop farther down, but if you have feedback coming from your right hip that needs tending to, take the time to breathe it away. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the access you're getting, and don't worry about the destination. But if you need to go farther over center to increase the feedback, if you need to drop down to your elbows to get feedback, that's another option. If you need to drop your forehead down to get any feedback, that's just another option. Forehead could come all the way to the floor. And then you just spend some time breathing away what should only be coming at you from your left hip. The left leg's reaching back to keep that feedback coming. Imagine the breath going in and just dusting it away as you inhale. And let the exhalation take all the tension away. We're now going to inhale our way to the backward bending pigeon, and we're going to treat this one the same way we did our cobra. We're not just going to press up with our arms and go to the same version every single time. We're going to inhale our way there with our attention starting on our left leg and working its way up from there. Like a pigeon, the rib cage and chest lifting, the arms are there just to keep you on track, not to press you into it. The inhalations are there to lift you into it. Keep your gaze going out in front of you. You can lift your face if you want to. Whatever feels right. Squeeze a few inhalations through your body's version of the backward bending pigeon. Send another in-breath in. Come to neutral. Neutral is where you're not back in the bow, you're on the back bend, but you're just kind of centered up. And then an option while you're here is to add a little quad stretch to it. Bend the left knee, grab the top of the left foot, cautiously direct your left heel towards your butt. Now you're listening to your left knee as well. making sure it's absolutely silent and okay with what you're doing. Making sure the right knee is absolutely silent and okay with what you're doing. And once again, you can stay up here. You can drop down a little bit onto an elbow or forearm. You can drop your forehead down. Remember to monitor that level of intensity of feedback that you're getting and keep it on the good side of intense. Don't get on the painful side of intense at all. Now you're going to let that left leg release back. You're going to bring your hands back down beneath your shoulders. And you're going to inhale your way back to your backward bending pigeon. Front lengthening is your emphasis. Listening carefully to your right knee, your lower back, and your neck to make sure they're not being compromised. Inhaling all the way up to the heart center, oxygenating Anahata. Before sending another in-breath in, come to neutral. Hands come down, they spread out. We're going back to our plank. You're going to tuck your left toes under, press your left heel back, left knee is off the floor, right leg steps back to join it. Just spending time with plank alone is a great option with many benefits. Remember, you now have 4 options. First one is to go straight to down dog. Second one is to go through caterpillar and very cautiously go through the cobras. Third one is to drop a quarter of the way down and inhale to up dog from there. Fourth one is to drop all the way down, reach the toes back, inhale away to your up dog. Remember, if you're in up dog, the knees are off the floor, tops of the legs are off the floor. Whatever you've chosen, eventually an exhalation has you back in down dog. And then if your left knee is okay with it, left knee comes back up next to the left thumb, right leg slides back, right knee drops down, right toes release back, drop down to your left if you're not filling the space completely. First start by breathing your way from left to right. Keep reaching that right leg back, try to get the right side of your pelvis to come forward. Little compromises always need to be made there. And then ease your way down. Possibly. Don't let the experience you had on one side affect the experience you had on the other. Let each side have the opportunity to explore its capabilities, its limits. Take note of the little differences you may have, and then maybe spend more time with one side or the other trying to bring balance to the availabilities. Find a nice, comfortable version of the pigeon bow. And if you feel fairly squared up through the pelvis, start by bringing your attention to your right foot, work it up the right leg from there. Look for space from your right toes to your belly button first. Then bring your fingertips down beneath your shoulders to keep you on track, so your inhalation can help you to add space from your toes to your rib cage, your chest, maybe your face if lifting the face up feels like the right thing to do. Bring your shoulder blades closer towards each other to add to the opening through the chest, through the heart. Squeeze a couple inhalations up through the front. Add one more inhalation to your backward bending Ekapada Rajakapotasana. It's like one of my favorite asanas to say. It's just a string of prefixes joined together. Ekapada means extended leg. Raja means king. Pada means pigeon. Asana means position. So it's Ekapada Rajakapotasana. Nothing fancy, just long. And now bend your right knee. Grab the top of your right foot. Draw your heel towards your butt. Make sure your right quads are okay with what you're doing. Make sure your right knee is okay with what you're doing. Stay up here by all means, if that's what this side's asking you to do. Drop down a little bit. If that gives you more adequate and appropriate feedback, drop down a bunch. Maybe your left hand goes back and grabs the right foot. Don't expect this one to be the same every time. if you went on a long bike ride yesterday, or maybe even a long run, your quad's going to be tighter. If you were sitting in a rowboat, doing outrigger canoe paddling, or even sitting in a car for a long period of time, your hips might be a little bit tighter. So every day, just check in with what you got and incrementally try to improve it.
Send one more inhalation in. Let find all the remaining tension through the top of the right leg in that left hip. Let all that tension dissolve away with your exhalation. And then release and extend that right leg back. Bring your hands down beneath your shoulders. Tuck your right toes under. Press your right heel back. Straighten the arms when they're just about all the way straight. Slide that left leg back. Press your ankles together. Press the knees together. Drop your pelvis down so your glutes are activated. Give your plank a few more breaths. Ponder which option wants to take this time around. Just because they're all available to you doesn't mean you have to pick the same one every time. You can spend a little more time in down dog if you wanted to. You could go through the cobras. I'm not saying don't go through the cobras, just be careful when you do it. You don't have to go through up dog every time, especially if your wrists aren't liking it. Make your choice. And with your next exhalation, drop into the vinyasa. With your inhalation, scoop through your back bend. Give your back bend another in-breath. And with an out-breath, go back to your down dog. Give your down dog a couple breaths. Again, it's evolving. It's getting easier. It's getting more accessible each time we're here. And then eventually look forward. If you want to do a little more work, don't come up onto your fingertips. If you want a little more space, come up onto your fingertips. Basically, it's a little more work for the core if you don't come up onto your fingertips. And float the feet forward. Flatten your back when you get there, get some space. And with an exhalation, give that space to gravity, fall back into Uttanasana. Melt into it. At the end of your next exhalation, bend your knees. Inhalation gets you back to your chair. Exhalation, you're settling deeper into Utkatasana. Inhalation, you're straightening out of it. Palms turn out, exhalation, arms come out and down. You're back to standing, back to finding your balance, finding your breath, finding your composure. Dropping the drishti gaze out in front. You can go back and work on tree if you want. Go back and work on king dancer. You can stay right here in Tadasana. Or you can explore the option shifting the weight over to the left leg. Drawing the right knee up, grabbing the right knee with your right hand. Reaching down with your left hand, you grab the big toe of the right foot. Shooting the right heel forward. Sliding the right arm up the left arm across the chest and shooting the right arm straight back. If you're super balanced, you could look back. You might be better off just keeping the gaze out in front of you. When it's time, come back, drop the right foot down, find your balance in Tadasana. Maybe explore that same option on the other side. Maybe do something else. Time is yours. Whenever the right leg's ready, explore the option that suits you best. Or as we did on the other side, slowly draw the left knee up, grab basically the shin right below the knee with the left hand. Reach down with the right hand, grab the big toe of the left foot, shoot the left heel forward. Slide the left fingertips up the right arm across the chest and straight back. And like I said, some days are better than others for balancing poses. Don't be frustrated if you fall out of one. Enjoy the opportunity you get to find that you might have a little internal imbalance and do what you got to do to take care of it. Find your way out when it's time. Find your way back to Tadasana and into our
third and final round of this little subsequence. With an inhalation taking you back to your chair, going in. I stay here for a couple breaths, long enough for the quads to start to burn a little bit, to guarantee that the environment through the hamstrings is nice and soft, to guarantee the journey towards Uttanasana is nice and safe. With your next exhalation, fall back to your forward fold. Let it evolve as well. Drop deeper into it with your next exhalation. With an inhalation, what I refer to as standing Dandasana, this flat back position. Keep that line from your sitting bones to the top of your head as you bend your knees and spread your hands out. Inhale, step your feet back for your plank. Find it, spend a few breaths with it. Throw a couple push-ups in if you want. Go to side slant if you want. The next 2 times we're here, we're going to go to side slant. You can go there now if you want, or just give your high plank a couple more long, smooth breaths. Before making a choice, taking that choice with your next exhalation, you know what options you've got. Find your way and meet me in down dog. A down dog that has the feet hip width distance apart, so that now you can come up onto your fingertips and step your right foot forward and center it right between your hands. Get the right foot all the way up there. Get that oh so important vertical line up the right shin, and then drop your left heel down. Vertical right shin, the line of your right heel going towards the arch of your left foot. Left ankle comfortable with the positioning there, left leg nice and strong. And then let your left arm shoot forward, up and back, and lift you up till your spinal column is perpendicular off the floor, therefore parallel to the line of your right shin. Your arms are parallel to the floor. Your big right toe is visible to the left side of your right knee. Your left leg is strong. Your arms are lined up. Shoulders are relaxed down from your ears. And the drishti gaze drops out of your right arm. For Warrior 2, or Virabhadrasana 2. Since the gaze is going forward, we tend to kind of lose the attention to the back half of the pose, but keep reaching that left hand back, touching an imaginary wall that keeps you centered, that keeps that right shin vertical off the floor. In this one, the left leg is actually the strong leg, and the right leg is just depending on the opening that the lunge of the pigeon gave us. And with your next exhalation, drop a little bit deeper in, and then turn your palms upward. Feel that slightly changed opening through the arms. This is what I appreciate about Warrior 2. It really is an opportunity to clear out stuff I got through my shoulders, elbows, and wrists. And then with your next inhalation, with the drishti gaze coming with you, swivel around till you're facing forward. About 2/3 of the way around, turn your left foot back. If you need to bring your hands onto your right knee, you can. Or you can interlace your fingers above you, turn the palms up, shoot the arms back, shoot the left heel back. And now you're in the high lunge. Strong left leg, structurally sound right leg. Before bringing the hands down, where now the option is to go to side slant, your side plank. The left leg is activated and ready to go. So you can spread your hands out on the floor, step your right foot back so the inside lines of your feet are lined up. Roll the outside of your left foot, engage your left leg. Relax your right leg. For added balance, keep your heels together, bring the toes of your right foot to the floor. Make sure your left hand is spread out, make sure your left wrist is okay with what you're doing, and possibly shoot your right arm up towards the sky. Your gaze could go up towards the ceiling or down towards the floor, whatever is more comfortable for you. Wait for an inhalation to bring you back to your plank. Spend a few more inhalations with it. And pick a path. Pick one of those 4, commit to one of the 4. Try not to combine them at all. This time we'll go back to calculator. That's my choice. Drop the knees down, we retuck the toes, drop the chest down, but you know you can do any one of the other 3. And you're just going to meet me back in down dog. Down dog gets a couple more breaths. And always looking for economy of motion. That's why the placement of the feet in down dog is important. Hip width distance apart. So that when we come up onto the fingertips, instead of that left foot up there between the hands, all we got to do is drop the right heel down. And I know I've got the left heel lined up with the inside of the right foot. I know I got that vertical line up the left shin. Check anyways. And then let your right arm reach forward, up and back. Let it pull you up. Find your center. And relax into Warrior Two. Keep the right leg engaged. See the relationship between your pigeon and your lunge and Warrior Two. It's about the opening you get here, the strength you get here. Spending a couple more breaths with the palms down version of Virabhadrasana 2. Making sure that big left toe now stays visible to the right side of your left knee. Before turning your palms up, spending a couple breaths with this version just to play with that line of opening flowing from one set of fingers to the other. Settling deeper into Warrior Two with an exhalation, swiveling forward, Drishti gaze coming with you. 2/3 of the way around, the right foot turns back, right knee stays off the floor, right heel shoots back, hands onto the left knee with the arms up towards the sky, fingers can interlace, palms up, arms back, right heel back. Exhalation, your hands come down. Right hand's now spread out. Ask your right wrist if it's okay with you, supporting you. Option is to go back to regular plank. Option is to do whatever else you want to do. Or go to your side plank, other side. Stepping your left foot back, roll to the outside of your right foot, engaging your right leg, relaxing your left, spreading your right hand out, shooting your left arm up towards the sky. Similar to shooting the fingertips towards the sky when we were in that tree pose. Redistributing some of that weight up towards the sky and away from your right wrist. Feeling a nice opening through the chest and shoulders. This is an example of doing the work you need to, where you need to make it easier. The work is in the right leg, relaxing is through the left leg. Inhalation brings you back to high shot where the same lesson can be learned. Do some work to make it easier. Press your ankles and knees together, press your heels back, make sure your glutes are activated, intercostals are working, abdominals are working. This is our last time going through the vinyasa. Ask your body which way it wants to go, how it wants to get to down dog. Fill up high shot with an in breath, drop down into your choice of journeys with an out breath. Always make sure you're inhaling through your back bends with in breaths. And exhale your way back to your down dog. Give it a little more time. Time to be the counter pose for the back bends we passed through. Time to just reveal its new version. Time to simultaneously lengthen and strengthen the long muscles of the body. Before looking forward, hands flat on the floor or up onto your fingertips, whatever feels right. Feet float forward, back flattens when you get there. Exhalation gets you back to Uttanasana. Wait for an inhalation to get you back to chair pose. Let the exhalation allow you to sit deeper into it. With an inhalation, straighten out of it, palms turn out, arms come down. Tadasana is where we land. Now we back our way out of the sequence by shrugging our shoulders, letting our head drop, and just rolling back down to the forward fold. Melting into Uttanasana with an exhalation. And then dropping down, passing back through that squatted position. It's probably a little more accessible to us now than it was at the beginning. This time I got my fingers facing forward, so I can extend one leg at a time. Strong gymnastic people could extend both legs at a time and hover if you want to. And then eventually just drop your sitting bones down. There you are, back in Dandasana, where Dandasana can now set us up for our counter pose, one of our counter poses, Paschimottanasana, or our seated forward fold. Because we're this late into the session, it's safe to shoot the arms out and up for most backs. If your back is at all vulnerable, by all means leave your fingers beside you, look beyond your feet, lift your chest towards your feet, and work your way into it from there. Or swing your arms out and up, look up, reach up, and give all that space to gravity as you fall into your seated forward fold. Tap back into that flow of development, which is your breath. That upward rising in breath lifts your chest towards the tops of your feet. The out breath allows the upper body to relax down towards your legs. Forget all about your knees. Your knees are way too far up here. There's seems to be a common thread often to see if your head can get to your knee, but to do that you awkwardly round the back and inhibit the development of the asana. So set your sights way out in front of you. Try to get your chest to your feet, and your back will be in a much safer position, and your asana will develop more efficiently as well. Let gravity take you down with each exhalation. Using this to counter congestion that could have snuck into the lower and middle back when we went through our pigeons or our cobras or our up dogs. And using it to set the tone of easing down, winding out of the sequencing. Give Paschimottanasana one more breath to evolve. And then ride your upward rising in-breath back up through Dandasana. Collapse with your exhalation. Inhale your way back onto your back. Reach your right leg in my direction. Draw your left knee up. Kind of like we did when we were setting up our tree pose. Get space from your right toes to your left knee. Bring the inside line of your pointed left foot to the inside upper portion of your right leg. Bring the right hand to the outside of your left knee. Extend your left arm straight out to the side. I've got this little wall here, so I can only go so far. So I'm just going to leave my elbow down and bring my fingers back to my chest. But if you have the room, extend your left arm all the way out. Keep your gaze going straight towards the ceiling. Press your right heel into the floor so you can prop up and over. And then with exhalations, while intending to keep your left shoulder pressed to the floor, while intending to keep the right leg straight, coax your left knee over to the right. You may have heard that little pop. I'm not sure if you did or not, but you may get a little lower back lumbar adjustment. That's free. Right leg strong. This is where I like to imagine there's a power source or a line of strength going from the top of my head all the way through my spinal column to my right leg. Do whatever you want to do with the right foot. Either point the toes, press to the heel, or press to the ball of the foot. Just do anything that keeps the right leg strong and straight. Best description I can give you is to imagine you're like a horse on a carousel, and that line from the top of your head to your foot is the pole, and then your center is just like the horse rotating around, spinning around that pole, freeing up the lower back from any congestion that may have snuck in there through the pigeon, cobra, and up dog, deepening your twist with an exhalation, coming out of it with an inhalation, going into a tuck with an exhalation just to kind of neutralize the spinal column and prepare to twist the other way, before dropping the small of the back down, dropping the shoulders and head down, extending the left leg, drawing the right knee up towards your right shoulder, getting space from your left toes to your right knee. If we hadn't done pigeon, we would spend more time getting this opening because it's very important that the right foot comes above the inside of the left knee, not below it, because that targets the lower back. Then the left hand slides to the outside of your right knee, the right arm extends straight out in front of you, the left heel presses into the floor so you can prop up and over, right shoulder stays planted, left leg stays strong and straight, and an exhalation has you gently drawing the right knee over to the left. With each inhalation, you reestablish that strong line that starts with a straight and engaged left leg. You replant the right shoulder, and with each exhalation, you subtly deepen the twist. Remember that I said the gaze goes straight up. That's the absolute safest positioning for the neck, unless you have a blanket with like 1.5 inches or 2 lift, maybe 1.5 inch thick pillow. Then you could look out over the right arm. But if you don't have a slight lift to the head, keep the gaze going straight up. Send another in-breath in, replant that right shoulder, re-engage the left leg, melt deeper into your twist with an exhalation. Remember to come out of all twists with inhalations, your back onto your back. Go into your tuck with an exhalation. With the cushion that your inhalation gives you, drop the small of your back down, your shoulders and your head down. Drop your feet down. And then let the knees fall away from each other. Now you're in Supta Baddha Konasana, which is basically a long way of saying you're reclining, bound angle position. Find a positioning to your shoulders that feels right for the positioning of your arms. Find a subtle positioning to your head that feels right for your neck. Find a positioning to your pelvis that feels right for your lower back. Find a positioning to your legs and feet that feels right for your pelvis. So just like the rest of our asana, compromises need to be made, and you're always just looking for general overall comfort. That's when you know you're doing it right. That's when you know your practice is evolving, when it becomes easier. And one good asana leads to the next. The more comfort you find in Supta Baddha Konasana, the more easily you will find comfort in Shavasana. You can stay right here as long as you want, or when your body asks you to, you can straighten the legs, find where they're most comfortable, find where every muscle can completely relax. Let your breath return to its now new and improved natural flow. Let your body completely relax. Let your mind wander. And let your spirit observe it all. Give yourself some time with Shavasana. Never feel stuck. Just like the rest of the options, if you ever feel like you need to make an adjustment, do. And when it's time, start by bringing your focus back to your breath first. This is where I like to imagine my first couple inhalations going down into and filling up one leg, all the way down into my toes. Kind of like re-stuffing a stuffed animal with the life that you get with each inhalation. And then send some of that energy down to the other leg. And then send the energy of a couple breaths into one arm. And imagine the energy of the breath going into the other arm. And then start to fill up the torso. And then eventually at some point you feel so full of this mana, this energy, this prana, this life force, that movement will want to start naturally through the fingers and toes. Might have been a lot of concentration, and so relax and stretch out the muscles of the face. Open your mouth wide, stick your tongue out. Rotate your ankles, rotate your wrists. And now give your body anything else it needs, any little stretches that we missed. and find a way to gently and yogically make your way back up to where we started, which was a comfortable seated position up at the front of your space. Might be different than the one you started with. Might be a more comfortable version of the one you started with. Just spend a couple more breaths sitting with yourself, contemplating where you're going. Before spending a few breaths with the heart center so that it can guide you along the way. As you connect with the heart center, recognize that there are common truths with the heart center. And it's those common truths that ultimately connect most of us. Send one more inhalation through it all. Namaste, peace, aloha, mahalo, thank you. Go surfing, go do whatever it is you do, and take care of yourself so you can take care of others. Thanks. There's more to come.